Chapter 27 Padfoot returns. One of the best things about the aftermath of the second task was that everybody was very keen to hear details of what had happened down in the lake, which meant that Ron was getting to share Harry's limelight for once. Harry noticed that Ron's version of events changed subtly with every retelling. At first, he gave what seemed to be the truth. It told with Hermione's story anyway. Dumbledore had put all the hostage into a bewitched sleep in Professor McGonagall's office, first assuring them that they would be quite safe and put away when they were back above the water. 1 week later, however, Ron was telling a thrilling tale of kidnapping in which he struggled single-handedly against 50 heavily armed people who had to beat him into submission before tying him up. "But I had my wand hidden up myself," he assured Padma Patil, who seemed to be a lot keener on Ron now that he was getting so much attention and was making a point of talking to him every time they passed in the corridors. "I could be taking those mere ideas anytime I wanted." "What were you going to do? Snore at them?" said Hermione waspishly. People had been teasing her so much about being the things what Victor Krum would most miss that she was in a rather touchy mood. Ron's eyes went red, and thereafter he reverted to the bewitched sleep version of events. As they entered March, the weather became dry but cruel. Winds skinned their hands and faces every time they went out onto the grounds. There were delays in the post because the owls kept being blown. Of course, the brown owl that Harry had sent to Sirius with the deaths of the housemaid weekend turned up at breakfast on Friday morning with half its feathers sticking up the wrong way. Harry had no sooner torn off Sirius' reply than it took flight, clearly afraid it was going to be sent outside again. Sirius' its letter was almost as short as the previous one. Be at style at the end of road out of Hogsmeade at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Bring as much food as you can. He hasn't come back to Hogsmeade, said Ron in incredulence. "It looks like it, doesn't it?" said Hermione. "I can't believe him," said Harry tensely. "If he is coach. Made it so far through, hasn't he?" said Ron. "And it is not like the place is swarming with dementors anymore." Harry folded up the letter, thinking if he was honest with himself, he really wanted to see Sirius again. He therefore approached the final lesson of the afternoon double buttons, feeling considerably more cheerful than he usually did when descending the steps to the dangerous. Malfoy, Grabbe, and Goyle were standing in a huddle outside the classroom door with Pansy Parkinson's gang of Sluthers girls. All of them were looking at sometimes Harry couldn't see, and sniggering healthy Pansy's pock-like face beat excitedly around Goyle abroad back as Harry, Ron, and Hermione approached. There they are, see Gidle and the knot of Slytherins broken apart. Harry saw that Barnsley had a magazine in her hands, which wickedly the moving pictures on the front showed a curly-haired witch who has smiling thoughtfully and pointing at a large long cake with her wand. You might find sometimes to interest you in their grandeur, Fancy said loudly, and she threw the magazine at Hermione, who caught it, looking startled. At that moment, the dungeon door opened, and Snarl beckoned them all inside. Hermione, Harry, and Ron headed for a table at the back of the dungeon as usual. Once Snape had turned his back on them to write up the ingredients of today's potion of the blackboard, Hermione hastily refled through the magazine under the desk. At last, in the center pages, Hermione found what they were looking for. Harry and Ron Lander in closet. A photograph of Harry had a short prize entitled Harry Potter's Secret Heritage. A boy like no other prepares, yet a boy's suffering all the usual pangs of adolescence, writes Rita Skeeter, deprived of love, signs the tragic demise of his parents. 40 years old, Harry Potter thought he had found solace in his steady girlfriend at Hogwarts, Middleborn, Hermione Granger's. Little did he know that he would shortly be suffering yet another emotional blow in a life already littered with personal loss. Miss Garnet, a plain but ambitious girl, seems to have a taste for famous results that Harry alone cannot satisfy. Since the arrival at Hogwarts of Victor Krum, Bulgarian Secker, and Hera of the Last World, Quidditch chap Miss Granger has been toying with both boy affections. Krum, who is openly smitten with the devious Miss Granger, has already invited her to visit him in Bulgaria over the summer holiday, and insists that he has never felt this way about any other girl. However, it might not be Miss Granger's doubtful natural charms that have come to this unfortunate boy's interest. She is really ugly, says Pansley Parkinson, a pretty and vivacious 40-year student, but she'd be well up to making a love potion. She is quite brownly, I think. That is how she is doing it. Love potions are, of course, blended of good words and no doubt. Albus Dumbledore will want to investigate these claims. In the meantime, Harry Potter's well-wishes might hope that next time he bestows his heart on a worthier candidate. I told you, Ron hissed at Hermione as she started down at the I told you not to annoy Rita Skeeter. She is made you out to be some sort of scarlet woman. Hermione stopped looking astonished and snorted with laughter. Scarlet woman. She repeated, snacking with suppressed giggles as she looked around at Ron. It is what my mom calls them. Ron muttered, his eyes going red. If that's the best treat I can do, she is losing her touch, said Hermione, still giggling as she trudged weakly onto the empty chair beside her. What a pile of old rubbish. She looked over at the slummers who were all watching her, and Harry glanced across the room to see if they had been upset by their artistry. Everyone gave them a sarcastic smile and a wave, and she, Harry, and Ron started packing the ingredients they would need for their wheat sharpening potion. There is sometimes funny thought, said Hermione 10 minutes later, holding her pestle suspended over a bowl of scrub beetles. How could Rita Skeeter have known? Know what? Said Ron quickly. You haven't been mixing up love potions, have you? Don't be stupid. Hermione snapped, starting to pound up her beetles again. No, it is just how did she know? Victor asked me to visit him over the summer. Hermione blushed scarlet as she said this and determinedly avoided Ron's eyes. What? Said Ron, dropping his pestle with a loud clank. He asked me right after he'd pulled me out of the lake. Hermione muttered after he'd got rid of his shark's head. Madame Pomfrey gave us both blankets, and then he sort of pulled me away from the jackets so they wouldn't hurt, and he said if I wasn't doing anything over the summer, would I like to? And what did you say? Said Ron, who had picked up his pestle and was drinking it on the desk a good 6 inches from his bowl, because he was looking at Hermione, and he did say he'd never felt the same way about anyone else. Hermione went on, going so red now that Harry could almost feel the hair coming from her. But how could Rita Skeeter have hurt him? She wasn't there, or was she? Maybe she has got an invisibly cloak. Maybe she sneaked onto the groups to watch the second task. And what did you say? Ron repeated, pounding his pestle down so hard that it dented the desk. Well, I was too busy saying whether you and Harry were okay too. Fascinating throws you social life and undoubtedly is, Miss Cranner, said an easy voice right behind them, and all three of them jumped. I must ask you not to discuss it in my class. 10 points from Gryffindor. Snape had glided over to their desk while they were talking. The whole class was now looking around at them. Malfoy took the opportunity to flash Potter's stings across the dungeons at Harry, at reading magazines under the table as well. Snape added, snatching up the copy of Watch Weekly. Father 10 points from Gryffindor, but of course, Snape's black eyes glittered as they fell on Rita's scruters. Artisle Potter has to keep up with his press puddings. Their dangerous rank with the Sliders language there and up smile cooled Snape's zinc moans. To Harry's fear, he began to read the artistle along Harry Potter's secret heritage. Dear, dear, Potter wasn't ailing, a boy like no other prepares. Harry could feel his face burning. Snape was pushing at the end of every sentence to allow the Sliders a hearty laugh. The artistle sounded 10 times worse when read by Snape. Even Hermione was blushing scarlet now. Harry Potter's well-wishers must hope that next time he bestows his heart upon a worthier higher candidate. How very touching, sneered Snape, rolling up the magazine to conduct callers of lectured from the Sliders. Well, I think I had better separate the three of you so you can keep your minds on your podiums rather than on your tangled love leaves. Wesley, you stay here. Miss Garden, over the besigne Miss Parkinson. Potter, that table in front of my desk. Move now. Furious, Harry threw his ingredients and his bag into his cotton and dragged it up to the front of the dungeon to the empty table. Snapefoot sat down at his desk and watched Harry unload his cotton, determined not to look at Snape. Harry resumed the munching of his scarab, breathless, imagining each one to have Snape's face. All things press attention seems to have inflated your already overledged head, Potter said. Snape quietly. Once the rest of the class had settled down again, Harry didn't answer. He knew Snape was trying to provoke him. He had done this before, no doubt. He was hoping for an exure to take around 50 points from Gryffindor before the end of the class. Your mind be laboring under the delusion that the entire wizarding world is impressed with you. Snape went on so quietly that no one Harry could felt his face burning. Snape was pushing at the end of every sentence to allow the Sliders a hard laugh. The article sounded 10 times worse when read by Snape. Even Hermione was blushing scarlet now. Harry Potter's well-wishes must hope that next time he bestows his heart upon a worthier candidate. How very touching, sneered Snape, rolling up the magazine to conduct the calls of laughter from the Sliders. Well, I think I had better separate the three of you so you can keep your minds on your buttons rather than on your tangled love leaves. Wesley, you stay there. Miss Granger, over there beside Miss Parkinson. Potter, the table in front of my desk. No. Farius, hurry there these ingredients, and he's back into his cauldron and gathered it up to the front of the dungeon to the empty table. Star followed, sat down at his desk and watched Harry unload his cauldron. Determined not to look at Snape, Harry resumed the mashing of his scarab, petals, imagining each one to have Snape's face. All this press attention seems to have inflated your already oval-edged head, Potter, said Snape quietly, once the rest of the class had settled down again. Harry didn't answer. He knows Snape was trying to provoke him. He had done this before, no doubt. He was hoping for an excuse to take around 50 points from Gryffindor before the end of the class. You might be laboring under the delusion that the entire wizarding world is impressed with you, Snape went on so quietly that no one else called him her, but I don't care how many times your pictures appears in the papers. To me, Potter, you are nothing but a naughty little boy who considers rules to be badge him. Harry tipped the powdered petals into his cauldron and started cutting up his kindled roots. His hands were snaking slightly out of anger, but he kept his eyes down as through he couldn't hear what Snape was saying to him. I give you fire warming, Potter, Snape continued in a startled and more dangerous voice. Pinned side, celebrity or not, if I can't you breaking into my office on one more time. I haven't been anywhere near your office, said Harry angrily, forgetting his fading deafness. Don't lie to me, Snape hissed, his fat, homeless black eyes boring into Harry's. Boomslang, skin, gilded, both come from my private stories, and I know who stole them. Harry stared back at Snape, determined not to blink or to look quality in through. He hadn't stolen either of their things from Snape. Hermione had taken the boomslang skin hat in their second year. They had needed it for the potion, and while Snape had Harry at the time, he had never been able to prove it. Dobby, of course, had stolen the gilded. I don't know what you're talking about, Harry lied coldly. You were out of bed on the night of the night my office was broken into. Snape hissed. I know it, Potter. No, mate, I might have joined your fan club, but I will not tolerate your behavior. One more nighttime stroll into my office, Potter, and you will pay. Right, said Harry coldly, turning back to his gingham roots. You'll bear that in mind if ever get the urge to go in there. Snape's eyes flashed. He plunged a hand into the inside of his black robes. For one wild moment, Harry rose. Snape was about to pull out his wand and curse him. Then he saw that Snape had drawn out a small crystal bottle of a completely clear potion. Harry stared at it. Do you know what this is, Potter? Snape sighed, his eyes glittering. Dangerous again. No, said Harry, with complete honest this time. It is very tasm through potion, so powerful that 3 drops will have you spilling your innermost secrets for this dear class to heart, said Snape viciously. Now the use of this potion is controlled by very strict mystery, but honestly, you watch your step. You might just find that my hand slips. She shook the crystal bottle slightly right over your evening pumpkin juice, and then Potter then will find out whether you're been in my office or not. Harry said nothing. He turned back to his ginger roots once more, picked up his knife and started slicking them again. He didn't like the thought of the true potions at all, nor would he put his past name to sleep him some. He repressed a shudder at the thought of what might come spilling out of his mouth if Snape did it. Quite apart from landing a whole lot of people in trouble inside his escapement and saw how he felt about you. He typed his ginger roots into the cauldron too, and wonderful whether he ought to take a laugh out of Monday's book and start drinking only from a private hip flask. There was a clock on the dungeon door. Enter, said Snape in his usual voice. The class looked around. As the door opened, Professor Karkaroff came in. Everyone watched him as he walked up towards Snape's desk. He was twisting his finger around his coat and looking against. We need to talk, said Karkaroff abruptly. When he had reached Snape, he seemed so determined that nobody should hear what he was saying. He was barely opening his lips. It was as though he were rather poor. Harry kept his eyes on his kinder roots, listening hard. I'll talk to you after my lessons, Karkaroff. Snape muttered, but Karkaroff interrogated him. I want to talk now. Why you can't sleep off, Severus? You've been avoiding me. After the lesson, Snape sniffed under the pretext of holiday up a cup to see if he'd poured out a nose armadillo bile. Harry sneaked a sidelong glance at the pair of them. Karkaroff looked extremely worried and Snape looked angry. Karkaroff hovered behind Snape's desk for the rest of the double period. He seemed intent of Snape from slipping away at the end of class. Keen to hit, but Karkaroff wanted to say Harry knocked over his bottle of armadillo while with 2 minutes to go to the bell, which gave him an excuse to duck down behind his cauldron and mop up while the rest of the class moved noisily towards the door. What's so arrogant? He had snapped his at Karkaroff. He said Karkaroff and hungry bring around the edge of his cauldron. So Karkaroff pulled up the left-hand sleeve of his robe and slow snap something of his inner forearm. Well, sighed Karkaroff, still making every effort not to move his lips. Do you see? It's never been this clear, never signs. Put it away, snarled, snapped his black eyes, sweeping the classroom. But you must have noticed. Karkaroff began in an agitated voice. We can talk later. Karkaroff spat. Snape, Potter, what are you doing? Clearing up my armadillo, while Professor said Harry, and nicely up and shoving Snape the socket red has he holding. Karkaroff turned on his heel and started out of the dungeon. He looked both worried and angry, not wanting to remain alone with an expectantly angry Snape. Harry threw his books and ingredients back into his bag and left at top speed to tell Ron and Hermione what he had just witnessed. They left the castle at noon the next day to find a wet silver sun shining down upon the crops. The weather was milder than it had been all year, and by the time they arrived in Hogsmeade, all three of them had taken off their cloaks and thrown them over their shoulders. The food Sirius had told them to bring was in Harry's bag. They had sneaked a dozen chicken legs, a loaf of bread, and a flask of pumpkin juice from the log table. They went into Gladrod's without word to buy a present for Dobby, where they had found selecting the most lurid socks they could find, including a pair patterned with flashing gold and silver stars, and another that loudly when they became too smelly. Then at 1:30 they made their way up the High Street, past the ridge and benches, and out towards the edge of the village. Harry had never been in his direction before. The winding lane was leading them out into the wind countryside around Hogsmeade. The cottage where Faber Hair and the garden largest. They were walking toward the foot of the mountains in whose shadow Hogsmeade lay. Then they turned a corner and saw a stile at the end of the land waiting for them. Its front steps on the topmost bar was a very large, shaggy black dog, which was carrying some newspaper in its mouth, looking very familiar. "Hello, Sirius," said Harry when they had reached him. The black dog sniffed Harry's back, wedged its tail once, then turned and began to trot away from them across the scrubby patch of ground, the trough of meat, the rocky foot of the mountain. Harry, Ron, and Hermione climbed one stile and followed. Sirius led them to the very foot of the mountain, where the group was covered with boulders and rocks. It was easy for him with his 4 paws, but Harry, Ron, and Hermione were soon out of breath. They followed Sirius higher up onto the mountains itself for nearly half an hour. They climbed a steep, winding, and stony path, following Sirius, waiting. Tile. Sweating in the sun, the shoulder straps of Harry's back cutting into his shoulders. Then at last Sirius slipped out of sight, and when they reached the place where he had vanished, they saw a narrow fissure in the rock. They squeezed into it and found themselves in a cool, dimly lit cave, tethered at the end of it, one end of his rope around a large rock was Buckbait, the hippogriff, half grey horse, half giant eagle. Buckbreak, Fearl's orange eye flashed at the sight of them. All 3 of them bowed low to him, and after regarding them impressively for a moment, Buckbreak bent his scaly front knees and allowed Hermione to rush forward and stroke his feathery neck. Harry, however, was looking at the black dog which had just turned into his godfather. Sirius was wearing ragged grey robbers than the same ones he had been wearing when he had left Azkaban. His black hair was longer than it had been when he had appeared in the fire, and it was untidy and matted. Once more he looked very thin. Checking his side hoarsely after removing the old daily prop heads from his mouth and throwing them down onto the cave floor. Harry pulled on his pack and handed over the bundle of chicken legs and bread. Thanks, said Sirius, opening it, grabbing a drumstick, sitting down on the cave floor and teaching of a large cheek with his teeth. I've been living off rats mostly, can't steal too much food from Gosmate. I'd draw attentions to myself. He grinned up at Harry, but Harry returned the grin only reluctantly. "What are you doing here, Sirius?" he said. Fulfilling my duty as good father, Sirius, grabbing on the chicken bone in every good light. Wait, don't worry about it. I'm pretending to be a lovable stray. He was still grinning, but seeing the anxiety in Harry's face, said more seriously, "I want to be on the spot your last later. Well, let's just say things are getting finished. I've been stealing the paper every time, sometimes throws one out, and by the looks of things, I'm not the only one who's getting worried." He nodded at the yellowing daily prophets on the cave floor, and Ron picked them up and unfolded them. Harry, however, continued to stare at Sirius. What if they catch you? What if you are seen? You three and Dumbledore are the only ones around here who knows I'm an animagus, said Sirius, shrugging and continuing to devour the chicken leg. Ron nugget Harris and passed him the daily propets. There were two. The first bore the headline mostly illness of Bartimaeus Crouch. The second ministry, which still missing Mr. of Magic, now personally involved. Harry scanned the story about Crouch. Prasad jumped out at him. Hasn't been seen in public since November. House appears deserted. City Mangos Hospital for Magic Malandis and Deadslide comment. Ministry refused to confirm rumors of critical illness. They are making it sound like he's dying, said Harry slowly, but he can be that ill if he managed to get up here. My brother Crouch, personal assistant, Ron informed Sirius. He says Crouch is suffering from overwork. Mind you, he did look ill last time I saw him up close, said Harry slowly, still reading the story. The night my name came out of the goblet, getting his command pains forsaking. Finally, isn't he? Said Hermione, and Edel to her voice. She was stroking Buckbeak, who was crunching up Sirius' chicken bones. I bet he wished he hadn't done it now, but he felt the difference. Now she not there to look after him. Hermione, obsessed with house elves, Ron muttered to Sirius, casting Hermione a dark look. Sirius, however, looked interested. Crouch sacked his house elf year at the Quidditch World Cup, said Harry, and he launched into the story of the duck marks, appearance, and Winky Bane found which Harry's one clutched in her hand, and Mr. Crouch Fairy. When Harry had finished, Sirius was on his feet again and had started backing up and down the cave. Let me get his straight, he said after a while, brandishing a fresh chicken leg. You first use Elfin, the top box she was saving. Crouch said, right, said Harry, Ron, and Hermione together. But Crouch didn't turn up for the match. No, said Harry. I think he said had been too busy. Sirius passed around the cave in silence. Then he said, Harry, did you check your pocket for your wand after you'd left the top box? Harry threw hard. No, he said finally. I didn't need to use it before we got in the forest, and then I put my hand in my pocket, and all that was in there were my omniculars. He started at Sirius. Are you saying whoever conjectured the mark stole my wand in the top box? it's possible, sighed Sirius. Winky didn't tell that one. Hermione insisted. The elf wasn't the only one in that box, said Sirius. His brow furrowed as he continued to pace. Who else was sitting behind you? Lots of people, said Harry. Some Bulgarian ministers, Cornelius, Fudre, the Malfoys, said Ron suddenly, so loudly that his voice echoed all around the cave, and Buckbeak tossed his head nervously. I bet it was Lucius Malfoy. Anyone else said? Serious? No one, said Harry. Yes, there was Ludo Bergman. Hermione reminded him. Oh, here, I don't know anything about Bergman except that he used to be better for the windborne wasps, said Sirius, still begging. What's he like? He's okay, sighed Harry. He keeps offering to help me with the Triwizard. Does he now? Sighed Sirius, frowning more devilly. I wonder why he do that. Says he's take a liking to me, said Harry. Said Sirius, looking thoughtful. With you, him in the forest just before the dark mark appeared, Hermione told Sirius. Remember, she said to Harry and Ron. Yeah, but he didn't stay in the forest, did he? Said Ron. The moment we told him about the riot, he went off to the campsite. How do you know? Hermione shot back. How do you know where he disappeared to? Come off it, said Ron, incredulous. Are you saying you reckon Ludo Barman conjured the dark mark? It's more likely he did it than Winky, said Hermione stubbornly. Told you, said Ron, looking manful. I'm serious, told you she's obsessed with house. But Sirius held up a hand to silence Ron. When the dark mark had been contained and the elves had been discovered holding hers, what did Crouch do? Went to look in the business, sighed Harry, but there wasn't anyone else there. Of course, Sirius muttered, backing down. Of course, he'd want to pin it on anyone but his own elf, and then he sucked her. Yes, said Hermione in a hurted voice. He sucked her just because she hadn't stayed in her tent and let herself get trampled. Hermione, will you give it a rest with the elf, said Ron. Sirius shook his head and said she's got the measure of Crouch better than you have, Ron. If you want to know what a man's like, take a good look at how he treats his inferiors, not his equals. He ran a hand over his unshaven face, evidently thinking hard, making sure his house elf saves him. Sat at the quenched fourth cup, but doesn't bother to turn up and watch. He working very hard to brainstorm the wizard tournament, and Sam stops coming to that too. It's not like Roach. If he's ever taking a day off work because of illness before his five-year backpack, do you know? Crouch said Harry. Cyrus' face darkened. He suddenly looked as menacing as he had the night when Harry first met him. His night when Harry still believed Sirius to be a murderer. Oh, I know, Crouch, all right, he said quietly. He was one of gave the order for me to be sent to Azkaban without a trial. What? Said Ron and Hermione together. You're kidding, said Harry. No, I'm not, said Sirius, taking another great bit of chicken. Crouch used to be head of the Department of Magic Love Enforcement. Didn't you know? Harry, Ron, and Hermione shook their heads. He was tipped for the next Minister of Magic, said Sirius. He's a great wizard, Barty Crouch, powerful magic and power-hungry, of never a Voldemort supporter, he said, reading the look of Harry's face. Now, Barty Crouch was always very outspoken against the dark side, but then a lot of people who were against the dark side, well, you wouldn't understand, you're too young. That's what my dad said at the World Cup, said Ron, with a trace of irritation in his voice. Through us, who don't you? A dream flashed across Sirius' face. All right, I'll through you. He walked once up the cave, back again, and then said, imagining that Voldemort's powerful now. You don't know who his supporters are. You don't know who's working for him and who isn't. Who know he can control people so that they do terrible things without being able to stop themselves. You are scared for yourself and your family and your friends. Every week news comes of more deaths, more disappearances for torturing. The Ministry of Magic in disarray. They don't know what to do. They are trying to keep everything hidden from the muggles, but meanwhile, muggles are dying to terror everyone, panic, confusion that how it used to be. Well, times like that bring out the best in some people and the worst in others. Crouch principles might be good in the beginning. I wouldn't know. He rose quickly through the ministry and he started arguing very harsh measure against Voldemort's supporters. The Aurors were given new powers to kill rather than capture, for instance, and I wasn't only one of was heading straight to the Dementors without trial. Crouch for violence with violence and the use of the unforgivable curses against suspects. I would say he became as and cruel as many on the dark side. He said he had his supporters, mind you, plenty of people through. He was going about things the right way, and there were a lot of witches and wizards clamoring for him to take over as Minister of magic. When disappeared, it looked like only a matter of time until Crouch got the top job, but then sometimes something rather uh, unfortunate happened. Cyrus smiled grimly. Crouch's own son was caught with a group of writers who managed to talk their way out of Azkaban. Apparently, they were trying to find and return him to power. Crouch's son was Couch. Gaspard Hermione, yep, said Sirius, his chicken bone to backpack, flicking himself back down on the ground beside the loaf of bread and tearing in it half. Nasty little snob for old party I'd imagine should have spent a bit more time at home with his family shouldn't he? Ought to have left the office early once in a while, got to know his own son. He began to wolf down large pieces of bread. Was his son a Deus other? Said Harry, no idea. Idea, said Sirius, still stuffing down bread. I was in myself when he was brought in. This is mostly stuff I found out since I got out. The boy was definitely coach in the company of people I'd bet my life were actors, but he might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time, just like this the house elf. Did Crouch try and get his son off? Hermione whispered. Sirius let out a large, then was much more like a bark. Crouch let his son off. I threw, or you had the mention of him, Hermione. Anything that threatened to tarnish his reputations had to go. He had dedicated his whole life becoming Minister of Magic. You saw him dismiss a devout house elf because she associated him with his dark mark. Again, doesn't that tell you what he's like? Crouch fatherly affections stretched just far enough to give his son a try, and by all accounts, wasn't much more than an excuse for Crouch to show how much he hated the boy. Then he sent him straight to Azkaban. He gave his own son the mentors, asked Harry quietly, then right, said Sirius, and he didn't look remotely said no. I saw the Dementors bringing him in, watched them through the bars in my cell door. He can't have been more than 19. Then took him into a cell near mine. He was for his mother by nightfall. He went quickly after a few days. So they all went quietly in the end, except when they in their sleep. For a moment, the net look in Sirius' eyes become more pronounced than ever as two shooters had closed behind them. So he's still in Azkaban. Harry sighed. No, said Sirius dully. No, he's not in there anymore. He died about a year after they brought him in. He died. He wasn't the only one, said Sirius bitterly. Most go mad in there and plainly stopped eating. In the end, they lost the will to live. You could always tell when a death was coming because the monitors who sensed it. They got excited. That boy looked pretty sickly when he arrived. Crouch being an important ministry member, he and his wife were allowed a deathbed visit. That was the last time I saw Boris Scrooge half covering his wife past myself. She died herself, apparently short afterward. Brief washed away just like the boy. Scrooge never came for his son's body. The mentors buried his outside the fortress. I watched them do it. Serious, threw aside the bread he had just lifted to his mouth and instead picked up the flask of pumpkin juice and drained it. The old Scrooge lost it all just when he threw he had it made. He continued his moves with the back of his hand. One moment, a hero poised to become minister of magic. Next, his son died, his wife died, the family name, and so I had since a big growth and popularity. Once boy had died, people started feeling a bit more sympathetic towards the son and started asking how a nice young lad from a good family had gone so badly astray. The conclusion was that his father never cared much for him, so Fadle got the top job and Crouch was shunted sideways into the Department of Magic Coppertion. There was a long silence. Harry was thinking of the way Crouch's eyes had bulged as he looked down at his house elf back in wood at the World Cup. This then must have been why Crouch had outraged to Winky Bane, found beneath the dark mark in head brows, back memories of his son and the old scandal and his fall from grace or at the ministry. Moody size Crouch is obsessed with sketching. Dark wizard Harry told Sirius here. I've had it's become a bit of a mania with him, said Sirius, nodding. If you ask me, he still thinks he can bring back the old popularity by catching one more death either. And he is naked up here to search a sniper's office, said Ron. Triumphantly looking at Hermione. Yes, and that doesn't make sense at all, said Sirius. Yeah, it does, said Ron excitedly, but Sirius shook his head. Listen, if Crouch wants to investigate Snape, why hasn't he been coming to Trudle that tournament? It would be an idea, sure, to make the regular visits to Hogwarts and keep an eye on him. So you think Snape could be do something then? Asked Harry, but Hermione broke in. Look, I don't care what you say. Dumbledore shot Snape.